welcome back to another stream, and in this stream we're going to continue working on this little animation. Let me refresh the page and let me show you the progress. Okay, so there are a lot of things that I've changed since the previous stream, and I want to walk you through all of those changes. Let me bring back IntelliJ IDEA in here. Right, the last time we were animating this polygon using this path, right? Instead of specifying a path in here like this, you can give this as a property in here. And then you can basically copy and paste all of this thing. But while reading through some documentation, I found that you can specify the path like this. So you can give this an ID, and then you can refer that ID in this mPath tag. And let's close Firefox. I've just tested if it works with Firefox, and it does, so you can close Firefox now. You can minimize Safari. We're going to come back and check this. So this is where we left the last stream, and this is the current state of the website. This is the production website, and this is the arrow animation that currently plays. Right, and then I kept playing around with this animation. You can just get more information, and you can see what I did in the previous video, but and then this one's about how I can have the ease in out, I don't want the animation to be linear. I want it to start slow and then go faster, and when it reaches towards the end, I want it to go a bit slower. So this is about that. This basically shows how to do that. I think this is ease out, not ease in out. But we can modify the variables here, or we can search for something else to fit our needs, but this is how you do it. And then I kept on reading this thing, this is an amazing documentation. Thanks guys. Mozilla, like they do great. They do such a great job with documentation. And then I was wondering, so the last time I left the stream, the problem was the arrowhead that you see in here was not in sync with the line, because I was triggering the line animation using some CSS code over here, and then the arrow animation was coming from this animate motion tag, right? And I was wondering if I could put them in sync somehow. So I kept on searching Google for stuff like which tab am I on right now? Okay. And then I kept on searching Google. Maybe I can do something like, I can fire up an event in my in one of my React hooks, like the use effect hook. So when the component loads, it tells this animation, like it tells the arrow animation to start and also the line animation to start at the same time. And then I realized that would be more difficult. So I found these examples online. So you can click this button in here, and then it would just start the animation for you. Like it will start two animations different from each other. I'm not sure. I'm still not sure how it does this, but this is the website. You can find the example in here. Apparently, you can give some IDs, and then you can modify something like you can modify the begin attribute, and then you can specify the button in your HTML code. But this is not. And then I realized this is not what I wanted to do, because how was I supposed to control this animation using a button? So I would have to inject the button into the SVG, and then I would have to hide that button and trigger that button event. I'm not sure how these things work in the web domain. Again, I'm not a front-end developer. I don't have much experience with how these things work. And then I realized maybe I'm not doing the right thing over here. And then I kept on searching. Maybe I can move the CSS animation into here, right? And then I started reading documentation, and I realized you can give pretty much what you want into one of these tags. So this is the line path, right? And I looked at my CSS, and there were two variables in there: stroke-array and stroke-offset. And then I was like, maybe I can create an animation which replicates the same effect, but by using the HTML code rather than CSS. And then I kept on searching. Well, I kept on basically reading this, and this was a great example, because this guy was animating an attribute. The y-axis of this square using this animate tag, and I was like, hold on, maybe I can instead of animating Y, I can maybe animate another property. Maybe I can animate stroke dash array. And then I tried it, and it worked. It just worked. There you go. That's what I have been doing. But this, believe me, this took me like 4 hours. Like, figuring these things out is very difficult because it's really difficult to come up with examples of things like this, because these things are really unique and tied to the website that you're working on. And if someone implements this, they're definitely not going to like put it on Stack Overflow or something. This is not a common problem, right? You have to dig deep into the documentation to bring whatever you need. That's kind of what I did. And so let's put the CSS and the SVG code side by side. So at the beginning, we start with stroke dash array 420. We start with stroke dash offset 420, and then we decrease this dash offset to 0, right? And then you specify the animation here. You can see an explanation of why do we do that in this website. So make sure you read this through. I've said this in my previous video as well. You have to read this through to understand what we're doing in here. These guys give such a great explanation. Chris, thanks. He gives such a great explanation about how the stroke animation works, stroke or dash array animation works. So this is what we do. Just read this through. Anyway, that being said, I think we can remove this animation module.sass now, because we don't need CSS anymore. We can just get rid of this file, and then we can get rid of this line, and it would still behave the same way because we're not using CSS anymore. All of the animation characteristics are defined in here. And again, the sync issue. The sync issue was happening because I was drawing the arrowhead and the line at separate times. One of them was being CSS runtime. Like, I think they're different. So I was reading something on Stack Overflow and document object model or something. I don't remember, but the CSS gets applied after the elements are drawn. So the arrowhead would start before the line animation, right? But when you put all of them under in here, they're going to start at the same time, because this element is going to get drawn once, and then the animations are going to start at the same time. So basically, this guarantees how do you call it? This basically guarantees that you're going to get them drawn at the same time, and the animations are going to start at the same time. So after solving that problem, I've encountered another issue. Well, actually, I have two issues now. One of them is, how do I make this fit into the current view box that I have on my website? And the second issue is, how do I change this animation to be ease in out? Again, just as I said before, there's an example in somewhere in one of these tabs, but how do I make that work with what I currently have? And obviously, what are the new values that we're going to dial in? Because we can't just, now that we're using all of these path things, like, we have to specify in numbers where our animation is going to be at what exact time. We have to find the Bezier equation, or the numbers. Like, there's I'm not sure if it's called, like, I'm not sure if I'm reading it correctly, saying it correctly. It's Bezier curves. Yeah, that's that one. So ease in out animation is coming from here. Just read this through. It's a mathematical thingy. Not that I know too much maths, but okay. After all that speaking, all right. This is the code. This is what we're working with right now. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make this fit into our view box, because as you can see, the arrowhead, after it's being drawn, it goes off screen. So this is too tall. And in one of these tabs again, it says you have to use a view box. Let's remove this. Let's close that one. In one of these tabs, it says you should use a view box to specify. Yeah, I think, is it that one? Maybe. Anyway, you should use this thing to specify the boundaries of your SVG, and this will allow you to resize your SVG via specifying height and width. If you don't specify this, then it's just going to be drawn on the path that, or based on the path that you've given. But if you specify a bounding view box, then it would constrain the widget into its own little box, I think. Anyway, so if I come to this widget, inspect, actually let me just click on the thing. Yeah, okay. So if I change the height or the width, as you can see, it's not doing anything. Like if I change the height or width to be something else, the widget is what? It's not a widget, it's an arrow. The arrow, where did the word widget come from? This arrow is staying the same size, right? And you have to specify a view box basically. And the way we do this is coming back to Illustrator, because I've realized view box is something that's specified in here. And then after doing some other research, I've realized that we can modify this view box attribute by just clicking edit artboards, and then we're gonna scale the view box to basically be around the edges of our shape. So we're gonna put this in there, this one in there, and then enter, and click OK, escape, and that's it. So we're gonna save this now, and if you go back to Sublime Text, oh, this is test.svg. Okay, we have to make sure to open test.svg. File, open recent. Where is it? Okay, let me just drag this from my desktop. So this is the test SVG. Yep. Okay. Right, this is getting more and more challenging. So we're going to copy this view box attribute from here, and then we're going to paste it into IntelliJ. Okay, I haven't explained what I did in here. So when you refresh the page, yeah, we can work with that somehow. We'll figure it out. So when you refresh the page, the SVG doesn't know that it's going to be animated, right? And the browser draws the full thing before it starts animating. And what you need to do is you have to set it hidden, and then you have to set it visible as soon as the animation begins. Otherwise, you would get like a small flicker when you refresh the page, and this is how you do it. You make the SVG hidden first, and then after all of these things get loaded, you set it as visible, from hidden to visible, right? Actually, now now that I specified this, I'm not sure if I need to specify it in here, because this sets it from hidden to visible. Let's try it out. Oh, did you see that? Maybe it's very difficult to see on the stream, but the arrowhead and the squiggle thing, the line is being drawn before the animation starts. So we definitely need that. Okay, well, we shouldn't remove it. And as you can see, oops. Okay, now that, as you can see now, nothing is being drawn, no flickering. Okay, it looks very clean, right? Let's figure out why this view box thing is not working. So if you have a huge SVG in here, okay, 152.71. Where's the 271 coming from? Do we know? Probably not. So, okay, now that we've set the view box, what happens when we change the height and the width? Okay, as you can see, we can now modify the width of this thing. So if I modify the width to be 100 pixels, it's smaller, and I think we need something like 70 pixels. Yeah, 70 looks good enough for now. Can we modify the height? What does height do right now? Nothing. Okay, height doesn't change anything. That means we can get rid of it. Can I specify height and like maybe, let's try 50 pixels. Okay, can I specify width in here? Okay, I can specify width. Right, we're going to specify the height and width in here rather than this div. So we're not going to specify it in here. All right, so we're going to get rid of the arrow size in our home page. So this style needs to go. But before we do that, let me just remove it from here. All right. Okay. Oh, that doesn't look good, but you're gonna fix it, right? Okay, now the question is, does this need to be in a div? I don't think so. So this arrow animation, it puts everything in a div. But I think what we could do is we can just put the class name in here and remove this div. Let's come back. Okay, that does almost exactly the same thing. And now let's clean this up a little bit. Okay, now let's go back to the home page. What happens if you remove this style? What does that style do? I don't remember. Okay, still doesn't do much, right? But okay, I'll keep it for now. Or should we remove it? You know what? We might need it. I don't know. Oof. This is getting more and more difficult. So why is this not in? Why isn't this inside that div? Right. Can we specify a height now? Yes. But the problem is, why is this not inside that div, right? All right, I think that's because we don't put it inside there, like literally. Oh, okay, we do. Can we put this inside the hero component maybe? That's possible, right? Yeah, why not? I don't know. Okay, let's put it inside here and let's see what breaks. All right, the link is gone and the visibility is hidden for some reason. Oh, no. Hidden to visible, and then, yeah, the animation should have played and then we should have seen it, but maybe it's at the back. Maybe something else is on top of it. Why doesn't this have a height and width? Those are probably all great questions that I don't know the answers of just yet. You know what? I'm gonna revert this. Let's see. Okay, we're back to the huge arrow, and I'm gonna place this inside the div again because that works, right? You're gonna go back to the state app. You know that works. Okay, this is fine. This we can handle. Let's see. So this SVG needs to go further left and up. I think we can just go back to Illustrator and then move this slightly towards the left. Yeah, this is not a professional job, but all right, now that I've saved it, maybe let's try copying the view box again. This is so bad. Like, there is no way that I can explain you what I'm doing right now. It doesn't even make sense to me. But okay, the view box, changing the view box didn't help. Maybe did we change the path when we saved this thing? Maybe. So let's just copy the path and then paste the new path in here. It's probably different from the other one. Yeah, it is. Okay, let's go back to Google Chrome. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So we basically need to make this thing smaller. And then we're gonna center this inside. Okay. Right. Oh, by the way, are these buttons working? They are not. Whatever. Okay, let's save this. Let's come back here. Copy the path again. This is terrible. There has to be a better way to do this. Anyway. There's probably a better way, but I don't know. And now the arrowhead is out of sync. 2 seconds, 2 seconds, and this is the path. The view box is specified right there. What's wrong? What's wrong? Duration 2 seconds, duration 2 seconds. Oh yeah, it's the dash offset. Maybe let's try changing this to 380. So we're going to decrease this value. Let's try 280. Okay, we have to increase that value. Let's try 780. Oh, this is difficult. 780, 8 and 7. Okay, that made it quicker. How about we change this to 3 seconds? How about we change it to 4 seconds? This is really annoying. How about we change it to 5 seconds? Like, you just have to play around with this thing to somewhat make it work. Let's try 5.5 seconds. Okay, that looks better. Just play around with the values until you see something that's working. Let's change the stroke width to be less. All right. Okay, now we gotta make this thing smaller and we're good to go. Okay, you're gonna decrease the height. So if we put it here, what happens? This is really frustrating to work with because, like, I'm just doing trial and error right now. This is definitely not how I would prefer to make software, but okay, we can bring it a little more upwards, right? We can make it touch the top. Okay, and let's now try to document setup and edit artboards. Let's try to make this smaller as well. Let's see what this does. Okay, we've only changed the view box, right? Alright, we change the view box. Okay, come back to Google Chrome. Right, just make the view box a bit taller. Oh, that's because the arrow is not... Okay, I see. Okay, we just need to make the bottom of the view box taller, and the left and right should stay the same. Left and right could be narrower. Okay, I see what we're doing right now. Okay, so if you're going to make this section a bit taller, and we can make these areas narrower, you can save this, come back to Sublime Text, and we're going to copy our new view box. We're going to come back to IntelliJ and paste this new view box in. Save it. Let's come back to Google Chrome and... Well, okay. What do these values do? So if I change this to 60, what's going to happen? So this is what? Okay, what if I change this to 102? This is the height. So let's not change this. Let's make this like 125. Maybe even more. 128. No, 130. Okay, the tip of the arrow is visible. What does this value do? We make this 10. Alright, it shifts it towards the left, which is what we want. Let's make this 15 actually. Does it center it? No, that doesn't look centered. Let's make it 12. Oh. Yeah, let's go with 13. Okay, did that help? No. 11. Okay, that looks kind of better. Right. Let's get rid of the 0.9. Okay, let's make this 12 again. Okay, that looks centered, right? And what does this value do? Okay, it brings it up. No, we don't need that. This could stay 0. Okay, this is our new view box. We're gonna close the file in Illustrator, and we're gonna paste this thing in here. Whoops. Save it. Okay, that's our new viewport. Again, this is really challenging and difficult. I have and now we have to make this triangle smaller, so let's go with like let's go with 8 and 16, maybe even smaller. Anyway, let's make the whole thing. Okay, let's copy this, paste it into Sublime. Where is our... Oh wait, we're not pasting that to Sublime, we're pasting it to here. Okay. And we should paste our new view box into IntelliJ as well. There you go. Okay, now we have to make this smaller with, or maybe 80 pixels or 70. Okay, this one has to be pixels, not 70. So this is it. This is it. Done. We now have to put this into our CSS and make it responsive, and we are done. Ah. Okay, let's do that. So width should be 70 pixels, and this is extremely custom made. All right, to save 100 kilobytes from my bundle size, I've over-engineered. Anyway, yeah, it's good because I've learned something new. Okay, so this class name, what does it do? That's the first question, right? And what's this fixed relative thing? What's arrow margin, arrow size? Let's go into arrow size and arrow margin. It's in this file, right? So in here, we're searching for arrow margin and arrow size. Here they are. So giving this arrow size inside Where's the thing? So this doesn't, okay. Let's put this on the side. So we are passing these inside to this div, but that doesn't seem to work. So I think what we need to do, again, what happens if you put this class name to here? Just want to see. Oh yeah. All right, let's forgot to delete that. So that means this link, it cannot take class names. That's why I encapsulated this thing in a div. Okay, but this SVG should be able to take class names, right? So if I just cut this and paste this in here, it might just solve the problem and we may not need a div anymore. Yeah. Okay, SVG is able to take class names, which is exactly what we want. So we can get rid of that. All right, so we are giving, wait, did it just work as expected? Yeah. Oh wow, okay. I didn't even have to change the width. So if I make the website smaller, this gets shrinked as well. Oh wow, nice, very nice. All right, okay, 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 very good stuff. I don't think I have to specify height anymore. Like specifying width should do the job. Let's refresh just to make sure. All right, maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was the width property that we didn't have to specify anymore. Is that the case? Yes, so we don't have to specify the width anymore. We just have to specify the height. So we can get rid of this one in here as well. And let's make this a bit smaller for mobile now. Okay, let's see it on an iPhone X. Why not? Okay, okay. Maybe make it. Let's make it like a tiny bit bigger. All right. Okay. Now let's try this on a tiny screen. Let's get rid of the margin top and margin bottoms. So padding bottom, get rid of that. All right. And let's make it smaller again. And I want to get rid of, why is this section so tall? We'll fix that later. So I want to bring this up just a tiny bit. I think if we do 190 or 80 maybe, yeah, that should bring it up. I want to bring it up slightly more. Let's try 190. And let's modify the height to be 140. I want to make it smaller. All right, let's refresh the page. So that's how it plays out. Okay. If you close this, refresh the site, that looks very good. Cool. Inspect this. Let's shrink it down. Let's go into the iPhone version. Why is the... So this div, it has a huge padding towards its bottom. So padding bottom 240 pixels. If you make it 200, or maybe like 190, 80, 70. Is that still too tall? 100, 10, 20, 50. I think I want to make it 170. Okay. Intro margin. Let's make that 170. Actually, yeah. Okay, let's make that 170. Here, our intro margin. Yeah. So we're gonna change this to be 170 now to adjust the new sizes, right? Okay. This is still a bit too tall. And we can modify the height of our SVG image right there to take, we're going to modify this thing to take less space basically. Let's add a new one of these in here. If the screen size is small, then margin top should be -170 pixels. Let's bring it down a tiny bit. All right. And then we could also modify this to be 150. Okay. And let's also bring it down a tiny bit more. Change this to 180 now. No, the opposite way, sorry. So this should be 160. Bring it down a little bit further. You know what? A bit more. Okay, looks good on an iPhone 5. Let's try the Galaxy S5. Still looks fine. Let's try the iPhone 10. Nice. How about an even bigger one? Do we have iPhone XS Max? I don't know. Anyway, this looks good. Maybe I can try it on my phone. I have an iPhone X. I've been using an iPhone XS Max for a while. So let me just go to the website one. Yeah. And it looks like this on an iPhone XS Max. Oops. Can you see that? Probably, yeah. Okay. There you go. It looks very good, right? At least that's what I think. And the arrow animation looks just in place. Maybe we can bring it down a tiny bit further. Okay, that's better. That's better. Let's try it and see the iPhone 5 version again. Okay, I really like this one. I really like this. I genuinely really like this. And I think it's time for us to just go through all of our changes. Wow, this took quite a while. Like this took almost all of my weekend. Yeah, we got rid of the arrow animation and we managed to... Can we clean this even further? I don't think so. Okay, let's go into the file. Let's use auto format. Okay, let's go through the SAS file changes. So we modified the padding, that's fine. We've modified, well, we've just done some height adjustments, which is again fine. Okay, now let's go back to the website and make sure it's just working fine as we resize it. So smallest size, yes, this is okay. And then if we keep resize, okay, now you see this is the problem. It's touching the top, which is not what we want. Okay, less than. And this should be less than medium. All right. I'm very happy with that change as well. Looks good, looks good. And I'm going to change this with less than medium as well. So the arrow becomes a tiny bit smaller on this view. Yeah, okay, that looks better. And after that, it's going to look fine anyway. Okay, so those are all the SAS file changes, and it looks absolutely amazing. Okay. And now we are gonna do npm run script build and then use Firebase serve. Oh, by the way, yeah. Right. Let's just wait. And then I'm going to do Firebase. Oops. And then in here, I'm going to do Firebase serve. Oh, by the way, I haven't removed Lottie yet. So, okay. Instead of doing that, let's just do git stash. Let's stash all of our changes. Let's put them aside and then do npm run script build. Let's check the size of the website before before we introduce this animation, right? Let's see how much we can save by getting rid of Lottie. Well, in another terminal window, I'll do Firebase serve. And while that does its thing, I'm going to update npm quickly. Okay. This is localhost 3000. Why is this localhost 3000? Did I do? Okay, whatever. Is this thing still running? No, it shouldn't run. So this is the Firebase site, right? 5000. Yeah. Okay. And if you go to network and if you refresh, the website on this specific image, the website used to be 1.8 megs, 183. As you can see in there, it just pops up 183. And now we're going to do git stash pop and then do npm run script build. Actually, wait, no. Before we do that, we're going to remove Lottie from here. React Lottie. Up next is pose. We'll see how that goes. Okay. Okay, let's just wait. Let's do Firebase serve again. Okay, same. Wait, what? We saved 300 kilobytes. What? Is that for real? No. Okay, I'm gonna refresh until I get the same image. That's insane. How big is Lottie? Oh wow. Okay, guys and girls, try to get rid of Lottie if you can. Obviously, if your business requires it, if what you do is absolutely impossible with this, like this simple thing took me more than 6 hours, and or actually more than 10 hours, because I had to learn how to do these things and stuff. But like this is a really simple animation, and if you have proper use case for Lottie, then yeah, just do your thing, obviously. But if you have a simple animation and if you're using Lottie, try to look into alternatives, because 300 kilobytes is insane. It's really big. Okay, let's go to production. Let's see how big the production website is, by the way. Okay, so let's go to the website. Okay, we will have to refresh the page until we get the same animation. Same background. So on production with gzip compression that Firebase provides, we got 1007 kilobytes, right? 103. Okay, now we are going to do Firebase deploy. So while that deploys, oh, by the way, I'm not using scripts because I have to ask the developer of per CSS some questions, and I don't want to modify the config. Anyway, whatever. I'll explain it in one of the future streams. Okay, let's refresh the website again, and let's wait until we see the same image. And the arrow animation plays out after the thing loads, after the proper image loads. This is amazing. So we managed to save 70 kilobytes on production. Again, this is a massive deal. This is like 7% of what we had before. So we're down from 103 to 959. Okay. Well, up next is getting rid of these bounce animations, right? These bounce animations are made using a library called pose. And I feel like I can replicate the same thing in a much simpler way with keyframes. Amazing. And maybe on click, I can make this thing disappear, like slowly go downwards and then disappear. That would be great. That would be, now that I know how to do these things, that would be great. Okay, we can work on this in the next stream. And also, obviously, we have to make this animation ease in and out. But yeah, let's just worry about that on the next stream. This is how you get rid of Lottie if you're using simple animations. I hope you found this useful. There's not a lot of documentation, or there are not a lot of answers to Stack Overflow questions that you can just copy the answers from. So there will be a very limited number of people that find this video really useful, and I hope you're one of them. And I will see you on the next stream. All right, bye.